who work with Dr. Spittle and Mid-American Nazarene University. If you want to come on up, he's going to report to us here in just a few moments. Mid-America's been through some tough times, as every university has during this COVID season. And having a daughter there who had COVID on campus, I know the challenges of all of that. And so would you welcome Dr. Spittle as he comes to share with us about Mid-American Nazarene University. And appreciate you, brother.
To be a pioneer is much more than a name. It's a frame of mind, a stream of thought like a straight line to the kind of change that can rearrange the world. A pioneer addresses the most relevant need and right there plants a seed. Not with a fickle hope for that seed to grow. A pioneer knows. They've done the research, done the work, already had their hands in the dirt. A pioneer doesn't question the impact of the seed they sow. They dream of how far and wide that impact will go. To be a pioneer is a state of being, a way of seeing and seeking the best. Pioneers don't settle with all the rest, they soar with a confidence built upon care, a longing to share successes, accomplishments, their secure point of view. But pioneers don't just talk, they listen too. Because the mark of excellence for any true pioneer is eyes that see and ears that hear. To be a pioneer is to see and to hear, but the work of a pioneer isn't complete until they move their feet. Each step planted with the intent that they don't send themselves, they are being sent. A pioneer is driven to live in the love of Jesus Christ. His life is the light in the darkest night that pioneers follow like a beacon and seek and find the lost, the needy, those left behind. Pioneers fix what's broken and replace what's false with what's true. They are called by God's kingdom, and that's what they pursue. But there is one thing that a pioneer simply won't do. A pioneer does not, will not go it alone. They find their home in community, striving toward unity, life on life, life together, strength to weather the biggest storm, connection to warm the coldest of circumstances. Don't take your chances alone. A true pioneer beckons others, come near. You have a place here. Bring your joy, bring your strife. Come as united, we pioneer for life.
Well, good morning, Prairie Lakes. That wasn't very strong, District Superintendent. Good morning, Prairie Lakes. We're so glad to be with you this morning, and Dr. Dewart, we want to thank you for your leadership for these past 2 years. It's been a joy to travel you with this summer, and we wish you God's blessing as you proceed. I was in Fargo when a shepherd pastor was elected as your district superintendent. And at that point, I got to know him even better because as a trustee at the university, I got a chance to listen to his heart. He is a shepherd district superintendent as well. No one loves his district and his people more than your district superintendent. And as a trustee, he represents you very, very well, but he also represents Christ. His heart for our students is immense, and so we want to thank you for your leadership of this district, and congratulations on your re-election. 10 years ago, when I came to you, I asked you to pray. We were in a rather desperate situation. The university had just laid off a good number of people. Our finances were struggling, and quite frankly, in our own understanding, we really didn't know what the solution would be. And I came 10 years ago and I said, please pray for us. Please continue to support us. Please continue to send students to us. And you did, and God was faithful. Now, I don't know how to explain the situation any clearer. That 10 years ago, we simply ran out of money. Anybody not understand what that means? We had a $1.2 million payroll every month, and our money had run dry. In our own understanding, we did not know really what to do. We asked God's people to pray, asked God's people to continue to encourage and support us, and asked God's people to send us students. Step by step, inch by inch, battle by battle, the Lord has sustained us because our Lord has never lost a battle. You believe that this morning? Do not lose hope. Do not become fearful. God has never lost a battle. In 2018, we were suffering with staggering debt, which was part of our problems, about $24 million in debt. That really was choking the institution. It was keeping us from going forward, and quite frankly, we didn't know what to do. It was beyond our understanding. We set out trying to begin to figure out how we could deal with it. One morning I came to my office and I was greeted at the stairs by our advancement officer, and he said, "I got good news for you. We've been a recipient of an estate that was established in 1968 when a grateful graduate gave us 1,200 acres that he purchased for $5,000 an acre in central Missouri." That was really wonderful. That was really great news. And he said, "But that's not the best part. The property now has a value of $10 million. That money was applied to our loan, reduced our loan by half, brought us back into alignment with where we should be. See, our God has never lost a battle. Even when it's beyond our understanding, even when we don't know where to turn, when God's people pray, God does amazing things. And I believe when he does it, I think he smiles. I think he says, "See, I told you I could be trusted." In 2015, we did a rather significant strategic plan for the university, and it listed everything that needed to happen on our campus, and one of them is we needed to replace our tired, aging campus center. Our campus student center was one of the original buildings on our campus when it was established in 1966. We love it, but I guess the word to use, it's mid-century modern. Is that the right word? Which means it's tired and old and holding on as long as it can. And when they basically said, this is going to be about a $15 million project, I have to admit, in my own understanding, I didn't know how that could be accomplished. In the midst of everything else that was going on, it just seemed like one more impossible thing, according to my understanding. It wasn't too long before that number was raised from 15 million to 20 million, and it made it even worse. How, Lord, are we going to do that in this day and age, in the middle of all of these circumstances? Our deadline was January the 1st, 2020, that we had to raise that money, and on the last week of December, we raised the last $1 million of that money. And today, that building's under construction. It'll be called the Cunningham Center in honor of Dr. and Mrs. Paul Cunningham, who are the reasons why Mid-America is in Olathe, Kansas. But that building will be occupied in March of 22 by our students, and it will be debt-free. And we want to give God the praise and the glory and the honor for that. Right after we celebrated the raising of those funds, we got a call on March the 13th from the county health officer. You're right, it was the C word. They told us we had to close the campus, send all the students home, and send all our employees home and operate remotely. It seemed like an impossible thing from our understanding. Quite frankly, we didn't know what to do as a campus but to gather and pray. God's people, our faculty and staff and our students, they're heroes in my book. They went to work and began to make the arrangements, and 10 days later we were operating remotely. All our offices were off campus, all our students were online. Our campus was closed and locked. Now, nothing makes a president more fearful than a campus that's closed and locked. And so the next thing we begin to determine is what's going to happen in the fall. Now, if you've read the story of Nehemiah, Sanballat and Tobias weren't really encouragers in that story. They always seem to appear. You pastors ever had any Sanballats around? They begin to say, you know what's going to happen? Your enrollment's going to go down. You know what's going to happen? Your churches are not going to support you. Their giving is going to go down, and people aren't going to be sending students to your campus. Well, in our own understanding, those things kind of rattle around in our ears, but God had different plans. When we opened school last fall, we were open for business. Our enrollment went up 17%. Your church support went up greater than it had ever been before, and our students have come, and we are proud to say that Mid-America Nazarene University is alive and well and stable and strong, all because God's people prayed, and you were faithful, and our God never loses a battle. I want to give praise to God for that. We made a commitment a few years ago. I told our staff I want to be the first of the Nazarene institutions in what we provide for Nazarene students in terms of scholarships. I didn't want to be on the end, I wanted to be first. And so we made a huge commitment to give Nazarene students and Nazarene dependent families all the scholarships we could possibly put together, and we've been able to do that. And because of your help and your support, every dollar that you provide through educational dollars, every single dollar goes to Nazarene students in form of scholarships. And quite frankly, when the naysayers said our churches wouldn't support us, it was awfully easy to begin to absorb that, but we knew God had a better plan. And because of that, we've been able to go ahead and provide scholarship for students at a higher level than we ever have before. I have Andy Cornelius here. I'll have him come. Andy is our Nazarene coordinator for all of our admissions for the university. He's a cross between a road runner and a bloodhound. He's out looking for Nazarene students, and he's doing a wonderful job. I just want him to share with you what's happening right now, and there's still time for this fall. Andy, just share.
Well, thanks, Dr. Spittle. I was here yesterday with the NYI convention, and as I was coming into Fargo for my flight, you got to put it on airplane mode, which means it turns off all the data, and I got bored, and so I was looking at some photos. And this is coming into my third year of this job, and in 2019, I had photos from camp with your students. And it made me think how exciting it is to see these, at that point, freshmen and sophomores in high school now getting ready to graduate and go pursue their next steps. Like I said yesterday, Mid-America is in the process of continuing the discipleship that you have begun in the local church. I get to meet with families about every week on our campus, and I like to remind them that our Christian identity is not something of the past. We were founded on Christian values, but that is still very much at work within the university. Like Dr. Spittle said, we've got Nazarene-specific scholarships for your students. I'm going to do it again today. Everyone hold up the number 5. $5,000 just for being a Nazarene student. Amen. Amen. When thank you. When Dr. Spittle said enrollment went up 17%, the Nazarene student enrollment went up 25% in the midst of the C word. We want your Nazarene students. I just found out about a week and a half ago that we have renewed our contract for 3 years with Ardeo, our loan reimbursement service, what we call the Pioneer Pledge. So if your student graduates from Mid-America, is working full-time, and makes less than $48,000 a year, Mid-America will help reimburse their student loan payments. That's it. Like I said yesterday, we know college is expensive, but we want to make sure that we're also setting your students up for success after they graduate. Less than $48,000, Mid-America is going to help reimburse your students' loans payments. We added new majors this last year, digital communications. I held my phone up yesterday. After, watching district assemblies for the last summer. Some of y'all need help with this. And so we're providing opportunities for students to learn how to engage digital platforms. We know our world is moving there. And so, again, we are trying to be on the front end of the movements and culture. Again, I want to thank you for your support of your students. It is always so good to be up here with your students. There's still time this fall. Move-in is about a week and a half. We've had students show up on move-in day, and we got them registered for classes that day. It is not too late to send us your students. There is still scholarship money available. So again, thank you, Prairie Lakes, for your support, and I look forward to seeing your students actually here in about a month and a half for fall retreat. So thank you.
Andy mentioned that we have new programs on campus, and I want to reiterate again, we're an institution that believes in equipping our students to be competent at the best they can be in their field. We offer 41 different degree programs, but we're also a sending institution. So as students come to us, we surround them with the love of Christ. We nurture and help them become all they can be and prepare for their vocation, and then we send them. This fall, we'll have about 500 nursing students on campus. We have about 200 counseling students on campus. We have students in all different fields on our campus, and if you can imagine what will happen when those students leave our campus and scatter all over the world, we are a missional sending institution. And if you are interested, many of these students that are leaving us, graduating, that have professions and different majors, They also happen to lead worship, and they play guitars, and they play drums, and they do HV, and they're passionate about Christ, and they want to do something in the church, and they work with children. We're a sending institution, and as a church, you're a receiving body, and we hope that you will invite them to come and be a part of your emerging ministries. I'm pleased to have Dr. Randy Cloud with us, and Dr. Cloud has served as the chair of our Christian Ministry Department for a number of years. I asked him because of the year with the C word and our disconnect over the last year, we didn't have assemblies, as you know. We felt there was a need to find ways to serve the local church, to serve pastors more effectively. I've asked him to come alongside me for old time and assist with church relations and pastoral support, and he's done so graciously, and so we're pleased with that. Would you welcome him? He's just going to share what we're doing for the local church.
So good to be here at Prairie Lakes. What a great district up here. And now that we've come up here to the state of Minnesota, I've been trying to fit in culturally up here. Notice that different parts of our region use different words and different phrases. So I've been training myself on 3 Minnesota words. I think they're Prairie Lake words. I'm going to try to incorporate them in today's work here, but I'm not sure. I know where they fit, so if they don't work right, just give me the eye and say no. So the first word I learned is oofta. Everybody say oofta. Is that an appropriate word for church? I don't know. And then the second one is don't you know. How do you say that in Minnesota? Don't you know. And the other one is you betcha. You bet, is that okay, so I'm going to try to get those in. So first of all, we want to just remind you of a program we do every June. And in the first week of June, we invite juniors and seniors in high school who are sensing a call to ministry. And we invite them to come to Mid-America for a 1-week camp. The camp is called The Call. And as some of us know, some of us are getting older. Steve, some of us are getting older. Oofda. All right, is that right? You betcha. And so we've got to get this new generation prepped to take our places. So I wanted to show you just a 1-minute clip from this camp. Pastors, youth leaders, parents, next June we need you to find these juniors and seniors in high school and tell them to come to the camp. It's very easy financially to come. A lot of kids won't come unless they're told maybe you need to check that out. So let's run that little video on The Call.
I close my eyes and colors fly. There's no hiding from your grace. I can't deny your heart for mine, and it's unrelenting chase. I was on the edge of deception, caught up in my own hesitation, until your love took over me. So I let go and I let love show me life like it's supposed to be. An oasis, here awaits us, all the freedom I'll ever need. Now I'm alive. When I let go, then I find life. When I let go, then I find life. When I let go, then I find life. Oh la la, oh la la. When I let go, then I find life. Oh la la, oh la la. When I let go, then I find life.
So next June, again, we need your help to find these juniors and seniors in high school and help them to know what next steps to take if they're sensing God may be calling them to ministry. We want to help them to take those next steps. 3 quick things. How many of you got a letter from me in the last few days from Mid-America? Any pastors, churches? Hopefully every church got a letter from me this last week. I want to introduce to you a friend of our church relations team. His name is Dwight Douglas, and Dwight has come on to do one thing, and that's to call all of our pastors on our region and to encourage and to pray for you. If you get a call from Dwight, don't hang up. He's not asking for money. He just wants to listen to your stories, and he wants to pray with you and support you. Number two, we're going to be releasing our new church relations website with lots of good resources for pastors and staff. That'll be coming here early this fall. And finally, we do have on campus a place for you to come for retreat, sabbatical, pastor staff. Our pastor's apartment is free for you to use. I know that's a long drive for this district to come down, especially through that Minneapolis traffic I went through yesterday. Oofta on that one, double oofta. I'm not going that way home. But we've got a place for you, don't you know? And if you could come down and spend a couple of days with us, we'd love for you to come down. We want to support you. We're on the same team. You betcha.
Thank you, Randy. I spent 17 years in South Carolina. I learned a whole different set of vocabulary. One of them is "jeet yet." Anybody know what that means? Jeet yet just means have you eaten yet? You know, jeet yet. The answer to that is nope, you. That's the way that works down there. I want to thank you again for your faithfulness, your prayers, your encouragement. We're in the middle of really exciting days on our campus. We're waiting to get approval for our first PhD program in family counseling. It's going to be a great addition to our campus, really a milestone event. And just another week, our students and their families and their semi-trucks and their U-Haul vans, and we'll bring all kinds of stuff to campus, and we'll introduce the students to a roommate who's going to share the same space with their semi-truck full of stuff. But it's an exciting time on campus to watch the next generation of the church arrive, and we just want to thank you. God has never lost a battle. And as we engage with the young people of our church, as we engage with the next generation, God is not going to lose them either. Thank you for praying and supporting us.